What's up guys, Groovy Guitar Dude here with a beginner guitar tutorial for Forever After All by Luke Combs. If this video helps you out, hit that like and subscribe button, and let me know down in the comments below what are the songs by Luke Combs that you want to learn on guitar. Guys, the first thing that you want to know to play Forever After All on guitar is that in order to get rid of some bar chords and keep the song as beginner friendly as possible, we're going to capo up to 5th fret. And if you don't have a capo, I'll have one to get this capo for free right up here. The next thing that you want to know to play Forever After All on guitar is the structure of this song. We're going to start with a verse, then go to pre-chorus, then chorus, then verse, pre-chorus, chorus again, then we'll have a short bridge and we'll finish up the song with one last chorus. And guys, the last thing that you want to know before we dive into Forever After All is the 6 chords that we need to play this song. The first one is C, the next one is G, the next one is D, the next one is E minor, the next one is C over B, and the last one is A minor. And I'll have chord charts for all of those in the pinned comment below for those of you who need them. And with all that in mind, guys, let's dive into Forever After All. Man, I'm actually a big fan of Luke Combs. I think he's one of the best country artists that's kind of in the game right now, one of the best modern day country artists. I really like what he's doing. He has his own unique sound, and he's not really falling into just kind of stereotypes of what's popular in the genre right now. He's very much doing his own thing, and I dig it, and this is just a classically beautiful love song, so I'm really stoked to share it with you guys. So with that in mind, guys, this song is a little bit tricky, mostly just because it's a lot to remember. We have a lot of moving parts in this song. None of it is too terribly complicated. It's all still pretty beginner friendly. Most of the chords in this are very beginner friendly, and the strum patterns in this are pretty beginner friendly as well. It's more than anything just a lot to remember. So with that in mind, the first thing that we're going to take a look at is what we're playing for our verses, because that's the first thing that we hear in the song. For our verses, our chord progression is going to be C, G, D, E minor, and then we'll go on to that second line, and we'll go C, G, D, and D again. And you'll notice that some of those chords have stars next to them, and the reason for that is because the starred chords, we're going to be doing something a little bit different for strum patterns. So what we're going to have in this is called an alternating strum pattern. Basically what that means is we'll have 2 different strum patterns, one for the starred chords and one for the non-starred chords. So let's break this down chord by chord. We'll start with our C chord, and that's our first non-starred chord. For all of our non-starred chords, we're going to play down, down, up, just like that. One more time. Down, down, up, just like that for all of our non-starred chords. Next we're on to our G chord, and that's a starred chord. For our starred chords, all of our starred chords, we're going to play down, up, down, just like that. One more time. Down, up, down, for all of our starred chords. From there we're on to a D chord, and that is a non-starred chord, so that one is going to get down, down, up. And then we're on to E minor. That's a starred chord, so down, up, down, From there we're on to our next line. C, non-starred, down, down, up. Onto the G, which is a starred chord, down, up, down. D, down, down, up. And then that last D, which is starred, will go down, up, down. Just like that, and that is going to repeat through all of our verses, a couple times for each verse. So one more little walkthrough of that all together is going to look about like this. We'll start with our C chord, and we'll go down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down. Next line, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down. Just like that, and that is going to repeat a couple of times for each one of our verses. So, guys, a little playthrough of that a couple of times through the chord progression and the strum patterns that will repeat through all of our verses on Forever After All will look about like this. there, guys, we're going to be into what's being played for our pre-choruses. Our pre-choruses get a little bit easier. We do have 2 little lines of chord progression there, but we do have just 1 strum pattern for our pre-choruses. So it does get a little bit easier from this point. For our pre-choruses, our chord progression is going to be A minor, C over B, C, and then C again. And then for that next line, we're going to go A minor, C over B, C, and D. And that is just going to play once through for each one of our pre-choruses. Now, strum pattern, like I said, gets a little bit easier here. For each chord, our A minor as an example here, we're just going to use down, down, up, down, down, up. Just about like that for each chord, but maybe just a little quicker than that. It'll be more like down, down, up, down, down, up. Just about like that, not so much space in between those like I said the first time. So a little walkthrough of that whole chord progression we'll be using with our pre-chorus with that down, down, up strum pattern for each chord. It'll look about like this. We'll start with our A minor. We'll go down, down, up, 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 down, down, up. And we'll play through that 1 time for each pre-chorus. And then that is going to take us into our choruses. So guys, like I said, this only plays through once for each pre-chorus, but just so you guys can jam along with it a little bit, a couple of times through that pre-chorus chord progression with that simple pre-chorus strum pattern will look about like this without me talking. And from there, guys, we're into what's being played for our chorus. Now, our chorus is going to look very complicated, but I promise it's much easier than it seems like it is. So first, let's take a look at this chord progression. We're going to start with a C chord, then go to G, then E minor, and then D. And we're going to repeat that twice. We're going to repeat that top line twice, and then we're going to go to C, and then D. We're going to play through that once, and then we're going to go C to D 1 more time. And that last line there is underlined for a reason. We'll get to that in just a second. It has to do with what we're doing for strum pattern. So I know that chord progression looks super intimidating. Don't be too turned off or intimidated by that. I promise it's easier than it seems like it is. It just is going to be a couple different strum patterns in there, just like we had for the verse, but nothing too terribly crazy. So first, let's start with those top 2 lines, because those lines have the same strum pattern for those. So we're going to start with our C chord here. That's our first chord. For each chord in the chorus, this is going to be our strum pattern. It's going to be down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Just about like that for each chord in our chorus, except for that last line. And again, that looks like a long, intimidating strum pattern, but I promise it's easier than it sounds, especially if you practice this along with the song. I would recommend playing this along with the song. It'll help a lot to get the feel and the rhythm of that. But with that in mind, a little walkthrough of us playing that together will look about like this. We'll walk through each chord individually. We'll start with our C chord. It'll look about like this. We'll go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, G, down, up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, down, up, E minor, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, D, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. We'll repeat that line again, C, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. And then we're on to the second line, so we've got that C to that D, so we'll go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, D, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, just like that. And then we're on to that last line, which is the underlined line, which is also a C to D. But for that one, we're going to use the same strum pattern that we use for our pre-chorus. So that's just going to be down, down, up for each of those chords. So for that last line, we're going to go down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. and that's the end of the chorus right there. That doesn't repeat at all. We just play once through that whole progression with those two different strum patterns. So very quickly, because I'm running out of light here, one time through that whole progression with all of those strum patterns walked through together will look about like this. Again, starting with that top line, we'll go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, 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 down, up. And just like that, we're out of the chorus. So, like I said, that only repeats once. That only doesn't repeat it, just plays through once for each one of those choruses. But I'm going to play through it a couple of times just so that you guys can play along with me and jam along. But a couple of times through that chorus chord progression with those strum patterns will look about like this without me talking. And guys, finally, the very last thing that you need to know to play Forever After All is the bridge. And we're going to try to wrap this up pretty quickly because I am almost completely out of light and I want to make sure and squeeze this in so I can get you guys this lesson as soon as possible. Thankfully, the bridge is pretty easy, so this one will go pretty quick. Our bridge chord progression is going to be E minor, C, G, and D. Just like that, and we're just going to play through that once for the bridge before we get into that very last chorus. Now, our strum pattern for each one of those chords is going to be the same strum pattern that we used for most of the chorus. So, starting with that first chord, our E minor there, it's going to be down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. For each one of those chords, and we're just going to play through that once all the way for the bridge before we get into that last chorus. So a little walkthrough before we do a full playthrough of that. Start with our E minor. We'll go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Just like that, and that will take us into that last chorus, and then that last chorus will take us out of the song. So, guys, this is another part that, like I said, we only play through once through that chord progression for the bridge, but I am going to play through it a couple of times just so that you guys can have a little bit of an easier time playing along with me. So, a couple of times through that bridge chord progression with that strum pattern will look about like this without me talking. guys, that is everything that you need to know to play Forever After All by Luke Combs on guitar. As always, if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments down below. I'm usually pretty quick getting back to those. And again, if this video helped you out, hit that subscribe button. I have about 800 other guitar and ukulele lessons on this channel, and I usually try to post at least 3 to 5 new lessons every single week. So if you're learning guitar or ukulele, there cannot be a more perfect channel for you to check out. If you want to see what songs I'm jamming on, where I'm traveling right now, or pictures of my dog, you can hit up my Instagram at @thegroovyguitardude. Link for that will be in the description below. And lastly, guys, if you want to support the channel and get your name in the credits at the end of each new guitar tutorial, you can hit up my Patreon at patreon.com/thegroovyguitardude. Link for that will be in the description below as well. Guys, Forever After All is one of those just awesome country love songs. It's one of those just classic feel-good country love songs. And a lot of you guys probably don't know this, especially based on the type of music that I mostly teach on this channel, but I actually started playing guitar a lot because of really good country love songs. So this song actually resonates with me a lot. Again, a little bit of backstory here, just a tiny quick one. This tattoo that I have on my arm that you guys see in every video, I got this tattoo because Keith Urban has the same one, and Keith Urban is a lot of the reason that I play guitar. He's one of the reasons that I started playing. I used to love country music when I first started playing guitar. So songs like this one, Forever After All, are a lot of the reason that I started playing guitar. So I have a lot of fun learning these kind of songs when they come out, especially when they're really good ones like this. This is one of those great songs that it actually has a couple different guitar parts in it, and there's actually already been an acoustic version of this song posted where Luke Combs had 2 acoustic guitars playing and just him on the vocals, and it was really cool, and I wanted to kind of draw the best of what I could from the original version of the song as well as that acoustic version and turn it into as beginner-friendly of a way to play this song as possible. So if you've made it this far, you've probably already noticed that, but the sum up of this is that it's a couple of chord progressions with a couple fairly simple strum patterns that play throughout most of the song. The trickiest thing about this song and playing it in this way is probably going to be just remembering which parts go where, and those strum patterns are a little bit funky. They're not super difficult, but they're just a little bit different than what we would usually use. They're a little bit of an interesting feel, and there are those alternating strum patterns in the verses, so that could be just a little bit confusing. But again, I think the most difficult part for most beginners with this song is just going to be remembering where everything goes, because it's kind of a lot of moving pieces, but other than that, it is fairly beginner friendly. It's a lot of fun to play, and it's an absolutely beautiful song. But I had a lot of fun learning this one. I hope you guys have a lot of fun learning it as well, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all soon.